Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
You're listening to an Ozai Ministries podcast. You must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road and you surrender to your lowest instincts. In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength. Today we will be discussing the one and only Uncle Iroh, who is the author of the quote that we started this off with, and of course Fire Lord Ozai, as we are kicking off our annual theme of 2026, the faces behind us. So we will be talking today about the faces behind Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for this. I am Joshua Noel. Nobody really cares about that. If I'm going to talk about something I'm geeking out on, I have two. I'm going to go with No Man's Sky. It's a video game I got during Christmas time on Steam. Gosh, it's incredible. A lot of the similar things of like Minecraft, I guess. I never got into Minecraft like that, but it's completely different animation. You're going through space, collecting materials, building totally space stations. It's awesome.
You know, Josh, you may not know this, but that game had one of the worst launches of all time.
Yeah, I heard it was an awful game until like last year. They just had so many updates.
It's been a couple years. They just keep updating the game for free.
It's so cool. And I get to build my own mech suit. Just find materials and build a mech suit.
It's a great game now.
I am Iron Man, but like a good version. Because I hate Tony Stark. But anyway, I am also here, of course, with the one and only TJ Blackwell, who you just heard. I think he's surprised I've been playing No Man's Sky, which makes me think he has No Man's Sky.
I do. It's not installed, but I want
to see you build stuff. It's bad. Would look better than mine.
Not good at it. No. But me, I've been geeking out on. Wait for it. Night at the Museum. There's 4 movies, actually. I feel like most people don't know that. There's the 3 movies that are live action.
I remember 3, yeah.
The third one, Secret of the Tomb, Robin Williams' last movie. Phenomenal. It's great. They also made an animated movie a few years ago. That's pretty good too. I've watched all of those over the past couple of days for some reason.
I just had no idea there was an animated one.
Yeah, good franchise. It's pretty good.
That's pretty cool. And then, of course, we are also here with the one and only Alex Matthews. Alex, how's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah, what you been geeking out on lately?
Lately, I've been geeking out on Marvel Rivals and Repo with some friends and my siblings. I used to play also No Man's Sky too, but then I stopped because I got bored. But that was a couple years ago, so I didn't know they had mechs. So maybe I should. It's still on my Xbox, so maybe I should try it. But
it's cool. The mech just lets me walk underwater, like Pirates of the Caribbean style, and it's wonderful.
Rivals is also cool.
It's very.
TJ's
good.
Been trying to
Except
get me to
for
play
Daredevil
for a minute. What?
You don't like Daredevil?
I don't like playing against him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
I don't like playing against him either.
Right. Of course, we are also here with one of the main conspirators against me, Liz Clyde. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Can't complain. Well, I can, but I won't.
Yeah. What are you and little Zuko geeking out on these days?
Well, my new name, Sun, because we can't decide on a name right now. We're geeking out on Studio Ghibli films because that's his nursery.
Sick.
And so I've been trying to get like a lot of inspiration to see how I want to decorate it. But yeah, so if you guys know any fun baby names, please pass them my way.
Oh, name him Porco Rossi.
Oh, my husband might agree with that. That's one of his favorite Ghibli ones. Man, if it was a girl, May would have been so cute. But got a boy.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be awesome, though.
Boys are stinky.
Especially if they're engulfed in flames and sweaty, like some of the ones we will be talking about today. So it's going to be a fun time. Before we get to that, though, I do have to ask people who are listening to rate and review our show wherever you get your podcast. It lets people know that we exist, and that helps get the word out. And we're trying to, really kick off this whole engaging pop culture, genuinely Christians having real conversations and not just pushing Jesus into stuff. We want to have more conversations like this, and it's more possible when more people know we exist. So rate and review. It helps. We also want to thank one of our financial supporters. I'm going to attempt to say the name, and TJ will correct me probably. Gunnar Bergam, maybe?
Yeah, pretty sure that's right.
Sweet. Well, if that's your name, Gunnar, we really appreciate you and your support. You're awesome. I want to remind our listeners also that if you want your own shout out and for me to struggle to say your name, you can become an official member of Systematic Geekology on our website in the description. The same website actually has a shirt with our annual theme that we're kicking off today, the Faces Behind Us. So check it out. It has a lot of faces that might look similar to some of the other iconic characters we'll be talking about on the back. It has our logo there with the faces. Anyway, it looks cool, I think. I actually especially like it in purple. We were talking about purple before we started recording. I think the purple design's perfect. And the front just has the Systematic Geekology looking nice, clean. Of course, comfort colors. I dig it. So check that out. Also on the website, I'm just really going to plug, you guys need to go to the website. We're going to be doing an extra episode in this series once a month. We'll be going only to the website for members, but that includes free members. So if you want to be a free member, you can do that on the website, get some of those extra episodes. Later this month, we're going to have TJ, Christian Ashley, John Erdley, and Herbie Ramsey discussing the monks who raised Aang from the Avatar: The Last Airbender. So if you want to, instead of hear about the Fire Nation people, want to hear about some air-bending monks, go over there. Website. It's a good place. Again, this is part of our annual theme. It's the first one, so the link won't actually be in the show notes for the playlist because I can't make a playlist with one episode. So check back in. We'll have a link. It'll be in the description once we have more than one episode in the series. Yeah. So with that, let's talk a little bit about what the series is. We voted about this on Host. We've had this discussion other places if you guys want to dig a little to see why we're doing this. But rather than talking about the main characters in the IPs and stuff that we love, like Spider-Man, we're going to be talking about the faces behind Spider-Man. Who inspires Peter Parker to be Peter Parker? So we're going to talk about Uncle Ben, Aunt May, instead of Peter Parker. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Uncle Iroh, Lord Ozai, instead of Zuko. So that's going to kind of be the theme as you go throughout. We're going to talk a little bit about Michael Scott and how he influences the people in the office. We got all kinds of fun episodes down the line. If you guys have a favorite one that you can remember that we're doing, you can shout it out, but I'm struggling to remember them all. I know we're going to do Garp, and that's going to be fun. I love Garp.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Yeah. I think we're also doing some of the Vikings from How to Train Your Dragon at some point.
Yeah. This is probably my favorite one, though, and the easiest.
Yeah. This is the one that I was like, I think this is the best one to start with, because Uncle Iroh truly is just such an inspiring character to me. So I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts nerd. The last one we're going to do this year is going to be a Kingdom Hearts one. I won't bore you guys with the details because that'll be a whole episode because I can't help myself once I start. So I'm just not going to start. But if you go through my Instagram, a lot of the feed is just random Kingdom Hearts material. And then just sprinkled in is just some random post that someone made of an image of Uncle Iroh and a quote. Because it's not because it's my favorite fandom. It's just I almost always like quotes from Uncle Iroh, so that's what the feed gives me. Yeah. So let's go start with that. What is everyone's history with Avatar: The Last Airbender? I've been talking too much and need a breather, so I'm going to let Alex kick us off. What's your history with this franchise?
Okay, so I started watching Avatar: Last Airbender when it was on Nickelodeon. I saw all the episodes. I did watch, I think either the first or second. I can't remember. I watched some of Legend of Korra, Didn't finish it. Still haven't.
Same.
Like, I remember the last thing I remember watching from Legend of Korra was like when the Avatar spirit like got destroyed or something. Spoiler alert. Sorry. But I've always been a fan of Avatar, Last Airbender. Like, and I rewatched it again like as an adult, and it's just like, I don't know, like all the things I picked up watching it like in my age versus when I first watched it when I was a kid. It's like, it's a deeper story than you think. Like, watching it, it's pretty good. It's definitely up there as my top 10 favorite shows. But yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. TJ, what about you? What's your history with Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Yeah, so I didn't have cable as a kid until, like it was after Avatar started running when we did get it, but I would still catch it and I would be addicted, and there was no way as a kid to, like, without internet at least, to just watch something in order unless you went and bought the DVDs, which usually weren't out yet. So I was just picking up bits and pieces of The Last Airbender for 5 years, 6 years, until it was on Netflix, and I had unlimited data, and I was like, I can just watch it on Netflix on my phone. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I did that, and that was like 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. But then I kept going, watched Legend of Korra. I think it's better than most people. I think it gets a lot better right after Alex stopped watching. Like season 3 is way better than season 1 and 2. But I think it's good. It's not as good as Last Airbender, but I do love the world that they built, the characters, the story. I think Avatar, it succeeds in its subtlety, and it's hard to notice that as a kid. And rewatching the series as an adult, you realize the small things that they're doing throughout the show that make it so much better than, most children's shows. But also the books are pretty good. The Yang Chen book and the Kyoshi book, I have both of those. Those are both pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't read the books, but
yeah,
I'll get to mine in a minute. Liz, what's your history with Avatar: The Last Airbender?
Very similar to TJ's. I remember watching it a lot when it would come on, and I loved it. I think because I'm a rigid person, I kind of like tuned in at the scheduled time, but then you never know what you're missing or the bits that might be out of order. But I have rewatched it probably at least twice in my young adult and adult life. Love it. And I have completed Legend of Korra, but I only watched it once because it was fine. Just not as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender. You just didn't get the nostalgia like I wanted. Like, if there's a sequel coming, I want a little bit of homage and nostalgia.
There is a little. Get it. It's just not.
Not as much as I wanted, though.
More fan service. But not quite not quite end game level, just more.
Because I mean, like, yes, you get to see like the older characters, but you really don't see that many. You know what I mean? The OG characters do not show up as much as I would want them to.
But this year we get the movie of all the adults, and that's going to be awesome. Yeah, I'm so excited. Man, so I said earlier this isn't one of my favorite fandoms, and I feel like everyone's going to think I'm a liar now. I never finished Legend of Korra, so that's my claim to this not being one of my favorites. I remember when it came on, being old enough that like I knew that this was like substantial. Like I was like, this is actually like really good TV. And I would actually go to, I remember it was channel 3 for us was the TV guide, and wait for it to scroll down to Nickelodeon and see what time it was playing. And I had my VCR set so that it would start recording at that time, because like I never knew what order it was coming on in. But if I just recorded every single time it was on, eventually I was going to get it all. So I had like the old VCR recording setup going on, and I caught it all early on. I remember when it came to Netflix, watching it. Me and my brother used to watch it once a year all the way through together. Just kind of like a me and my brother's thing until, we both went to college and moved out and did adult life things. But I think even after once there was like a month where we both lived back at home after we had gone to college. Yeah, for the most part, we missed each other after that. Like when he went home, I was already gone, and when I went back home, he was at college, and it was the whole thing. But yeah, for at least a month, we were both there. I think we watched it again as adults together. Even one of my favorite standalone comics, Zula and the Spirit Temple, incredible comic. It is so freaking good. yeah. So just in general, I've always loved Atla since it's been on. And even Christmas was trying really, really hard to explain to my mom that when me and Matt were talking about Avatar, we are not talking about the blue people. Mm-hmm. She just could not understand that that's not what we were talking about. It's okay. Yeah.
Third one's really good.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the second one. The first one was just so derivative that I was like, I don't think I care. Yeah.
See, no, well, they're still derivative, but the third one is derivative of 2001: A Space Odyssey. So
nice.
Much better.
I do plan on watching them all because I love the blue people land in Animal Kingdom. Now we're going to confuse our audience if we keep talking about two different avatars. So we're going to move on and talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I'm going to throw it back to TJ because I think he is the best at being brief. TJ, could you briefly summarize Zuko's story in Avatar: The Last Airbender? Or we'll start with just like, who is he? And then summarize the story. Because I don't think saying villain is right, but
well, it
not
definitely
saying
is
villain
at
also
first.
Seems wrong.
It definitely is right at first. But Zuko is the son of the Fire Lord, who is the king of the Fire Nation. That's how that works. He has become estranged from his father, and he shamed him. And he kind of exiled him a little bit. And he gave him his scar, which I think it's really funny. You picked a picture of him without the scar. That's super important. But he's got the scar.
There he goes.
So he is the estranged prince of the Fire Nation, and it is his mission to take out the Avatar. It's his whole revenge plot. That's who he is. And through his character arc, he slowly overcomes that rage and what's the word? He's a very complex character. But he slowly realizes that he doesn't need his father's approval and comes to, kind of join the good side. He's really not an antagonist as much as he's a deuteragonist. Ozai is the antagonist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy though, because Avatar: Last Airbender has this weird thing where like it was enough like an anime that I think it was a lot of people's stepping stone into getting into anime, but it also had a lot of that like Saturday morning cartoon vibes. Like Zuko had that role where you were like, oh, this is the bad guy that we want to watch lose every episode, Like he had that at first where I was like, oh, this is the bad guy. I can't wait to hate him. And then they were just like, oh, actually, we're going to teach you that people aren't always bad when you think they're bad. And sometimes that harder shell is actually hiding more complex things. And you're like, what? No. And then you start to love him. And then you're like, man, how did I ever hate this guy? And then you're like, yeah. It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah. And they do it so well. They kind of strand him with Team Avatar and he's forced to grow. And then he and Aang are growing together. So you can't really keep rooting against him.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. So he goes from like one of the main antagonists of the show to one of the main protagonists of the show. And it's only a 3-season show. So it's still pretty wild that they were able to do this.
And do it
also,
well.
I guess I should have said, for those who are watching the live action show on Netflix and haven't seen the cartoon, we're going to spoil the hell out of this. So be warned.
Bad news.
Yeah. So that's Zuko.
Hey guys, Christian here. Have you ever wondered how you can support systematic ecology? Well, we've made it a lot easier for you by going to Fourth Wall. Instead of what we've done in the past, Fourth Wall makes everything very easy for everyone involved. Everything is in the same spot. So if you want to find a way to become a member and get access to our exclusive memberships and all the giveaways that we're going to be doing, Fourth Wall is the way to go. As well, if you want to see all the extra episodes and content that we only put to our members, that's the best way to go. Feel free to rate and review us there. You can also leave a donation or tip if that's something you're interested in. And as well, you can help support our All Reading Counts initiative that we do. All the donations that go to that go to our libraries. You also, if you really want to, it's like, man, I really want to hear more episodes about Christian for some reason. Or even for reasons I don't understand, you want to hear Joshua more often. We have episodes listed by host, and you can see everyone there. If you have a favorite host, head that way and support the episodes that they're on. You also find a link to our YouTube page. And we may be adding some special content beyond what we've promised. Everything that was once in multiple different locations and you didn't know where to go, well, it's all in that one convenient place. If you want to know exactly where to go, the link to this will be in the description below.
We're not talking about Zuko, though. We're going to talk about the faces behind Zuko. So let's start off with the one that I feel like we probably have a lot less to say about, Fire Lord Ozai. For the main antagonist, I feel like he gets very little screen time, actually.
Yeah. Well, I think it serves him, though.
Yeah. Makes him more eerie.
Yeah. He's best consumed in small doses. It keeps him kind of mysterious. Yeah. Every time he is on screen, he shows off his power. I think it's a good way to write a villain.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't decide if he's more like Donald Trump or Vladimir Putin, but he's definitely one of the two if he was in real world. Yeah. Very power hungry, very honor through strength kind of mindset. How would you describe Fire Lord Ozai, Liz? I'm gonna put you on the spot now.
Yeah, he's pretty much like a dictator, a conqueror. He probably has daddy issues we don't know about.
He does. Azulon beat that boy to death.
Is that in the comics?
Yeah.
See, I felt it. But yeah, I mean, he is Zuko's father, and so you just see how he has raised his two children. I mean, like Zuko's, I'm sure we'll talk about her, so I won't talk about too much, but like we just see how their personality has been corrupt and traumatized, and it has to do with this man a lot. So
yeah, that boy is corrupt.
He is a poo-poo head, if we want to keep it G-rated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think you can't talk about him or the Fire Nation in general, because the Fire Nation as a whole is really what influences Zuko, the whole system. And it's very much one of those like honor shame culture kind of things of like, you know, having that scar was a huge mark of shame for Zuko, that he lost a fight. And now everybody sees that he's a loser, or, you know, having all these pins from, you know, whatever, being this conquering hero, or, you know, hero is not the right word. Conqueror, yeah, is like a show of honor, or having more ships, or having command. It's all about like your status. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's not even, I feel like it's enough to say what their culture is like, that the scar is not shameful because it's a scar. The scar is shameful because it didn't kill him.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're going to lose and you don't die, it means you didn't care enough to fight till the end. Yeah. Alex, anything to add about Fire Lord Ozai and what his character is like, what his role is?
Yeah, he's just really power hungry, very little humanity, I think, because all he cares about is like conquering and power and like getting rid of anything and anyone that's in his way. Like, wasn't he still the Fire Lord when in that episode when they were trying to find all the waterbenders in that one tribe? Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So
yeah, when they took Katara's mom.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's just an example of how like inhumane he is. Like he's just gonna get rid of anyone that's in his way and doesn't care. So he's a bad guy. And the fact that he has little screen time too, also like I think is also a good move, because it solidifies that he's bad. No room for sympathy. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Like he's bad. Yeah. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not all bad guys need nuance.
Yeah.
Some do. You get Zuko, but then Ozai is just bad, man. Like
he's just really bad.
I appreciate when there's just a bad character and there's no traumatic backstory.
Yeah.
Like let us just hate them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 And I think too, and we're going to touch on this a little bit more when we talk about Uncle Iroh, but one of the things too that really stands out is that contrast of Uncle Iroh's son fails in war, dies, and that changes everything for who Uncle Iroh is and his compassion towards humanity. Meanwhile, the Fire Lord Ozai, Zuko loses, and Ozai's just like, you deserve to be scarred. You're banned from our country. So, you see this incredible compassion from Iroh, who completely changes his character compared to his brother, Fire Lord Ozai, who's just like, no, I don't even want anything to do with my son if he's going to be a loser. It's like, wow, this guy is he's bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because you're never away from Ozai during the show. Everything that is happening to the gang is because of Ozai. Outside of a couple of like filler-ish episodes that are here and there. But like Explosion Man, that's Ozai. Just everyone that comes after them is because of Ozai. He doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And
if he had gotten up and did it himself, maybe he could have not lost, but
yeah. Yeah. But it's very much his whole motivation is just conquer the world, make the whole world the Fire Nation, because the more I conquer, the more honor I have, because I clearly am better than everyone because I conquered them. Pretty straightforward motivation. Yeah. All right. So with that, then let's move on to one of my favorite characters, point blank, I think, just of all of anything. It's hard to find a character that's just more lovable than Uncle Iroh. Yeah. Before we get to the other stuff, Uncle Iroh, how important do you guys think he is? Well, just any of them, Uncle Iroh, Zuko, Fire Lord Ozai, to you personally, how important are these characters? Because, like, I don't know. For me, Iroh, I feel like my life would be worse if Uncle Iroh wasn't in it, or Zuko.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's my real uncle. As far as I'm concerned, that's my dad's brother.
Does your dad know that?
Probably not.
Okay. Yeah.
Bigger family. You never hurt nobody.
Yeah. But I think, like, I don't know, so much of just his personality and like how loving he was and forgiving he was, and a story that, as a kid, you don't understand how stories impact you, I feel like. So when I was first watching it, I'm like, this is just a story. But I think what was really happening is, like, I'm deeply engaged with these characters and what's going on, and I'm really involved. And to see one character in a world that's completely split by war because Fire Nation bad, and then you have this one guy who is a Fire Nation who's like, just have some tea. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. But that's not all. He also did actively contribute to that war at one point.
Yeah. It's just
Uncle Iroh is a character who's already been where Ozai is and realized that it's not what life's about.
Yeah. Which I'm going to call out me and TJ's other show. It's one of those examples of like why it's so powerful to see someone who's changed their mind. Because like I think without humility and the ability to change your mind, unity is impossible. You always are going to have polarization. You're always going to have people like Fire Lord Ozai trying to conquer everybody else. But being able to say, wait a minute, maybe I was wrong, and rethink things, it's a big deal. And calling out our other show, because TJ and I on Whole Church just did a whole episode about things we've changed our minds on in the last 7 years. Not really recently, but 7 years. Yeah. Liz, what about you? Is it any of these characters, like what do they mean to you?
I enjoy them greatly, but then I don't bond too much. But I think that's just a me as a traumatized child problem, not really the Avatar problem. You know what I mean? Love Uncle Iroh. I mean, without him, like Zuko wouldn't have like felt any kind of love like at all. I remember I did cry whenever that scene when Zuko was like when Zuko was like, how could you forgive me, or how like something, he was like, I wasn't afraid. What was it? Now I can't think of it, but like he was just pretty much
disappointed in you. Yes, I was afraid that you lost your way.
Correct.
Yeah. He's like, I was never, with that quote.
I was never disappointed in you, but I was just afraid you lost your way. And I'm like, what? I mean, like, I wish my dad would tell me that, I remember thinking that. I was like, what the freaking heck?
Yeah, just the level of compassion and love. And it's just like, I don't know. Something's got to be in those writers to be able to create a character like this. No, like, man.
For you to be able to feel the compassion from the screen is very impressive.
Yeah, those writers were working something out in that writing room.
Yeah. Well, that's also why I chose the image I did on YouTube. I didn't want to get a picture of him doing anything like powerful or with a cool quote. I like this kind of like silly picture of him because like he is so complex. Like he's silly and funny. He's compassionate, loving, and deeply wise. And he's freaking powerful. But like when I think of him, like I think it's a lot of like when I think of like Jesus, I think of Jesus smiling and goofing off. So I think when I think of Iroh, I like to see these moments where he's just kind of happy and being a little goofy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like to think of Iroh when he's super jacked in prison.
I forgot about that. That was awesome. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Alex, what about you? What do not just Uncle Iroh, but any of these characters, what do they mean to you?
Well, yeah, piggybacking off of like Liz, like that scene with Iroh forgiving Zuko in the prison, like that, I don't know. Like every time I see or think of Iroh, I like get sad because I feel like he lost a lot. Like he went through a lot of hard times, but he still like chooses like the path he did of like peace, happiness, and all that. And it's just like, wow, like anybody can change. Unfortunately, not everybody changed, but I don't know. He's just really cool. Like he's a good example of like redemption, forgiveness, have some tea when times are hard. Like, I don't know. He's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just like pass over like the part of Iroh's life that we are witnessing because he's getting a second chance to raise his son in Zuko. And that's so important for Iroh as a character.
Yeah.
It just doesn't get talked about a lot. Really, we only get that one episode, which is the saddest episode in the show because of Iroh's like 4-minute clip.
Yeah.
But it doesn't talk about it a whole lot other than that.
Yeah.
But that's all it really took.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be a little weird. I'm going to describe an emotion that I get when I see Iroh because I don't have a name for it. So like a lot of times when I feel challenged, usually it feels more like sharp, you know, like I need to go do something. When I see Iroh, it's almost like a deep melancholy kind of challenge. Like I feel deep in my soul that I need to be more like this, you know, that I'm like, I am not that compassionate. And I like, that's always what I feel when I see him. Just even the silly pictures, I just immediately, that emotion just stirs up in me. And I don't know. But yeah, when
I think that's what Jesus is supposed to make you feel like. I think that's what they tried to teach us in each of our churches.
Yeah. Well,
our 4 particular churches.
They just don't have as many pictures of Jesus around. I don't know, man.
Yeah, there's not.
They animated it better, maybe.
But yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like that deep personal challenge, like for your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. When I think of Jesus, I think of more of like a closeness, like relationship, rather than like a deep challenge. I don't know what it is. Jesus doesn't challenge me enough.
Right. Yeah. Well, don't
just
say
on
that
an
out
emotional
loud.
level, but it's fine. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and move on.
He will.
You know, he encouraged, the Spirit challenges me. Yeah. I think reading about Jesus just mostly makes me feel hope. Anyway, Jesus and Uncle Iroh are 2 different characters. We'll talk about Jesus some other time. For now, I want to break down, since there's so much more to talk about with Uncle Iroh than I think there was Firelord Ozai. I kind of want to do it in parts. First, what I'm sure is everyone's favorite part, especially TJ. You want to talk a little bit about Uncle Iroh as the Dragon of the West?
Yeah, he's so cool, man. Iroh as like the strongest general in the Fire Nation army. The Iroh that we don't really get to see much of is the Dragon of the West, the man who, you know, busted through the walls of Ba Sing Se. Failed the siege, but, you know, still he did it eventually. But that's just such a cool name. You ever thought about the name, the Dragon of the West?
That's awesome.
Do you know where all of the Fire Nation lives? In the West. That's where all of them live. They called Iroh the Dragon of the West. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just put that out there. But it's cool. We find out about his nickname long before we ever see him get up to any business. And just thinking about it and that buildup is so fun. It's like, mysterious. It makes you ask those questions like, oh, who is Iroh really? I can't wait to find out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
it's great.
Thinking about this part of his history to me too, it's like, one, super cool, because you just don't think of like the nice gentleman who's always trying to like get everybody to drink some tea and sit down and calm down. It's like, oh yeah, that guy used to be the absolute most powerful conqueror of the Fire Nation. Like he's arguably as powerful or more powerful than his brother, who is the Fire Lord. Like, it's like, what? That guy? And it's like, yeah, he's just that powerful and just chose to stop fighting. Which I think, too, what's so cool about that to me is not only did he just choose to stop fighting and like, you're like, that character really, when you think about it, Aang without Iroh, I think Aang does not succeed. I think Aang just dies at some point during all this because Zuko and Azula probably would have got him. But Iroh didn't save Aang with force. He is arguably the strongest character in the world, but saved Aang through compassion. Incredible. Just great storytelling. Liz, Alex, anything else about Iroh as the Dragon of the West?
No. I mean, I would argue when you said he used to be, did he ever stop being the most powerful?
Probably not.
And that's what I'm saying. He probably didn't stop.
We just don't see him do a whole lot during Sozin's Comet. Like, we do see him, re-siege Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, but being the most powerful doesn't mean you show off the most. You know what I mean?
No, I just wanted him to.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It would have been cool to just watch him be like, oh, by the way, guys, watch this.
Yeah, because we get to see Ozai raising, like, a continent from a blimp.
God, I forgot
could have done that, man.
That's crazy. Yeah. Alex, anything to say about Iroh as the Dragon of the West?
No. I mean, y'all already said what I was going to say, so. Yeah.
Just to needle somebody listening, probably. As people who currently live in the West, I also do think about, like, all of the people who... I don't want to make it a conservative Democrat thing, but, like, there are a lot of people who are okay with what ICE is doing to a lot of innocent civilians in our country right now, or all this other stuff. And to think about the fact that, like, that's who Iroh was, actually. He was just completely fine destroying people just to be, get me more honor. And to think, wait a minute, all of the hate that maybe I have for people who are behaving this way, one of them might just one day become Uncle Iroh. So it's like, I don't know. That also challenges me to think of, like, I think that that's a true statement. Anybody can change. You look about.
So you're haunted by Pete Hegseth, Uncle Iroh.
I am now. Now that you've said that. Okay, so let's move on. Uncle Iroh also. When we first see Uncle Iroh, he is going along with Zuko. So Zuko is being banished, but he's told that he can regain his honor if he captures the Avatar. And Uncle Iroh goes with him. And it kind of feels a little weird. Like, you're being banished. And the brother of the king, basically, the emperor, is like, I'll tag along. Why not? He doesn't even do that much, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because he wanted that chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a good uncle.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's like, I'm not going to, like, let him be alone. So I didn't really think anything of him. Like, he's a quality dude. Probably was sick of how the Fire Nations was acting anyway, so he wanted an escape, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. It's interesting because you find out a lot more about what he's doing and why he's doing it later on. Mm-hmm. So he does have kind of dual motives here, but...
I mean, well, you said you're going to spoil it, so you can kind of just say secret tunnel, secret tunnel. Best part of Avatar.
It does also have to feel good to, like, go on a tour of the world.
Yeah, see everything again.
But not as the Dragon of the West, the, great conqueror of the Fire Nation.
Yeah, instead of a gentle old man who wants to make tea. Yeah.
Just wants to make tea. And I just love that, like, he's like, so we can just set up a tea shop and start a new life. So I'm sure that was probably his hope all along, because no one knew the Avatar was going to show up, right? Like, he hasn't been seen in forever, so he was probably hoping just to help Zuko start over.
Yeah. Well, it's like two of my other favorite quotes from Uncle Iroh you get, like, in this era is, like, one, he's like, I know you're not supposed to cry over spilt tea, but it's just so sad. I love that. And then
he's so funny.
Yeah. And then that one where he's like, we just, start a new life, have a tea shop. And Zuko's like, I don't want to start a new life. Or start a life here. That's what he says. Zuko says, I want to start a life here. And Uncle Iroh just straight comes back with this, like, really deep. I mean, life's going to happen wherever you are anyway. And you're like, good point.
And then they open a tea shop.
True. So Alex, TJ started on this. For Uncle Iroh, this also is a little bit like a second chance at raising a son. You expound on that. Like, why do you think maybe this was so meaningful for him to see Zuko stranded by his father and realize that he had another chance here?
Well, I can't remember exactly how his son died, but didn't his son die like in a battle or something?
Yeah. The siege of Ba Sing Se, is that right?
Yeah, he died in the siege of Ba Sing Se.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, yeah, like
the first one.
I don't know, maybe because he didn't want Zuko to follow in like his dad's footsteps, and I'm sure like his own son was following in Iroh's footsteps and ended up dead, and so he just didn't want the same thing to happen. So he wanted to, I guess, break the cycle that the family was going through. Through Zuko.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Well, to touch on the dual motives thing, and this is, we said spoilers, right? I definitely think a large part of it was he wants to say, this is like another chance to have a son. My son died because I thought my honor was more important than anything, and I went into war. He sees his son die. I'm doing a little bit of backstory here. When he sees his son die, it changed him fundamentally. He's like, wait a minute, maybe this whole honor shame thing is just stupid. Maybe our whole entire philosophy about life is just wrong. And then he gets in this mindset of like, he doesn't like war at all. He wants peace, which is why we don't see him do so much fighting. He hates war. War is what killed his son. He no longer wants to be a warlord. And that's when he becomes, I forget the name of it, but he becomes part of the organization with the White Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what he was called?
White Lotus?
Yeah, but he had a specific title in it. Yeah. Anyway, so he's part of this secret organization that's trying to keep the Avatar alive because the entire role of the Avatar is to end the war and let us all have peace on Earth. And he's like, war killed my son. I'm over this. So he wants to protect the Avatar. And what you find out is even though he did go with Zuko because he loves Zuko, and this is like another chance for a son, he also is constantly secretly sabotaging it so that Zuko cannot catch Aang. Which is also just really funny because you think he's just this goofy old man just, hanging out, supporting his nephew. Then you're like, wait a minute. Nope, he was part of a secret organization was sabotaging stuff the whole time. He's awesome. So there's kind of the dual motives there. We've mentioned it. Alex and Liz mentioned it a few times. Do you want to talk about the betrayal? Zuko betrays Uncle Iroh. What happens here? How does Iroh handle it? Y'all want to get into it a little bit? Alex? Liz?
I can't remember exactly what he did to betray him, but pretty much Zuko had a chance to redeem his honor to go after the Avatar, and that's when Uncle Iroh was like, no, we can start over, you don't have to choose this life. And so Zuko pretty much kind of sold him out. So and betrayed his uncle, who never left his side, which is really sad. But I mean, we all stray a little bit, I guess. But man, even in jail, Uncle Iroh was like a G, pretending to be senile and really keeping up his regimen and whatnot. If I ever got locked up, I would want to channel my inner Uncle Iroh. But yeah, I mean, it was a powerful separation, but as we said before, even more powerful, coming together. And then Zuko, I feel needed to be alone and grow and kind of see for himself to kind of go on his own little journey.
Yeah.
But I can't remember exactly what Zuko did to betray him, how it was set up.
I can help if no one else remembers, but if Alex remembers, I'll let her take it away.
I've mostly blocked it out.
I don't remember
because it makes me dislike Zuko.
It's the trauma.
Well,
we don't think about it.
Part I forgot.
Basically, Zuko kind of finds out that Iroh's been sabotaging him, doesn't want him to capture Aang. Zulo shows up and offers Zuko the chance to help her capture Aang and bring him back. And Zuko goes with his sister Azula, betraying his uncle so that he might get his dad to love him and get his honor back, basically. And I think part of that reconciliation was Zuko realizing his dad's never really been a dad to him, but Iroh has. And that's another reason it was just so freaking powerful. But yeah, okay. Context added. Alex, anything else to say about this moment? I know you guys have already brought it up, but just want to give you a chance to say something else if you want.
I can't really think of much. I think, everybody just touched up on everything. I think I forgot that he also like kept up with himself in the prison, like acting crazy. But then when their backs returned, he was like he always had that dog in him. Like Dragon of the West never left. Don't play with Iroh. Yeah. Like even from the beginning,
like, they walk away.
You think that he's just like a silly uncle. Like I'm just here for the vibe, but then, no. Whole time he had a plan and agenda. Like he's cool. Certified G.
Yeah, I do think there is also a part of it where Iroh really wanted to go with Zuko, because if Commander Zhao had ever tried to act sideways towards Zuko, Iroh would have stopped that.
Oh yeah, that's
There's not a single person on that whole boat who could have stopped Iroh.
That's right. I forgot that he had commanders and people with him to kind of like babysit him.
Yeah. But I love it so much. Like his prison visitors leave, he jumps right up on that cage, starts doing his one-arm pull-ups while he eats.
Freaking incredible. Yeah.
Freak.
Awesome. Man. So we've kind of gone through the characters, I think, as much as we can. How important is it to uplift characters like Uncle Iroh and even Firelord Ozai in our public discourse today? Like, are characters like this still relevant, or are they just fun and make us feel good? Or do we see like something in our real world that we're like, maybe we need to uplift characters like this in our public discourse? DJ.
Yeah, it's super important to have strong role models regardless of what age you are, because I think most of our listeners are still a little bit younger than Iroh. You can still look up to him.
Probably.
But to have someone who shows you such a strong, positive example of what you can be to others, I think is more important than anything else. And in media that is a lot more easily consumed than some other potential role models, like Jesus Christ. But Iroh's there. Iroh's there, and he's already a white guy. So you don't have to lie about that.
Well,
he's white-ish. He's white passing.
All right. Well, on that note,
not.
Hey guys, Christian here to talk about our YouTube page. That's where you can go find us at youtube.com/@systematicgeekology. We have exclusive stuff there, exclusive videos where you can just hear other topics that you'll never hear on the podcast proper. These include things like comic book catch-up, where we're discussing the newest comics that we're reading, Friday Night Frights, where Joe Day and I explore a cryptozoological, paranormal, ufological item of discussion. Has a lot of good fun there. I have a lot of great times with him. We have spontaneous YouTube shorts that we decided to do a topic we wanted to discuss. They're in a very short form. We do them there as well. You can interact with us live as we're recording like a What's New episode or something like that. You have something you want to chime in? Well, how can you do it unless you head over to youtube.com/@systematicgeekology. All right, guys. See ya.
Liz, how relevant are characters like Iroh and Firelord Ozai to us today? Are they?
I think the biggest thing is just to very loosely compare it to like kind of even my job. Like Uncle Iroh is telling Zuko the paths available to him, because a lot of the times you don't know. You're just so focused on seeing right in front of you. You don't know the different avenues you have. And so with me working at a school, my biggest job is to talk to high school students as a recruiter and be like, hey, my school may be great for you, but there's so many options. What are you thinking about doing in your life? Oh, you're thinking about the military? Well, why are you like helping them think through all the avenues that they have? Because I'm like, well, let's think about your lifestyle. If you want to have a family one day and you want to do this, you're not going to be able to flip burgers at McDonald's with the lifestyle you want 10, 15 years down the road. You want to join the military? Great. Why do you want to join the military? Do you just want a free education? Because there's other ways to make your education affordable without joining the military. So just kind of having those role models to help you think and see all the paths in front of you. Because a lot of the times, especially if you're desperate and you don't think there's no other way, there's usually a way. And so, I mean, even a lot of people in prison right now, they would say they would benefit science shows if they had availability of like mental health at an early age and just like someone to help counsel them at an early age, and they would have like made different choices in life. So yeah.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Alex, how about you? Any ways you see that these characters are still relevant to us or you personally or whatever?
Yeah, I even touched on it earlier. Like, Iroh is a good example that like anybody can change and like break away from like generational cycles and things and choose to be better and just like live better and just change for the better. So like anybody can do it. It's possible. It's good. It's tough, but if you like keep it up and be kind to yourself, it's possible. So
yeah. Well, I think it really helps. A few different ways. I think it's still really relevant. Is I like that the Fire Nation is just bad, because all of us, like regardless of where you fall, like we're in a very polarized world today. Everyone has someone that we're like, oh, they're the bad guys. Republicans, Democrats, Russia, China, America, whatever. And I think it really helps that these are the bad guys, but we also know that two of the most powerful, compassionate, whatever characters, because I think Zuko by the end of it is an incredible character. Him and Iroh came out of Fire Nation, the bad guys, the very clear bad guys. And so I think that makes it really relevant to uplift these kind of characters and to have this in our conversation, especially in such a polarized world as today.
Yeah, it's really important to have someone like Ozai at the top to show that one bad apple does not make the grove bad, and the show goes through great lengths to make you know that. Like with Aang going to Fire Nation school, yes, they push against them because they are deeply victimized by the propaganda machine that is the Fire Nation. But getting to know Aang, they get open to these kids. They open these kids up and like they have that big dance party, and just to show that the Fire Nation is just full of people, normal, regular people, led by an absolute monster.
Yeah. My other thing is, actually, I think we do live in a world that is very honor shame based. It's very constantly get the promotion, get the raise, get the next whatever, make sure you have a family, you have this big a house, like we live in a world of a lot of expectations, of a lot of like constant push to keep getting more, to keep being the best. No one's like, oh, I want to be second best. And we do live in an honor shame culture, not to the extent of the Fire Nation. You don't get a scar and you're shamed for life, but like we do live in a culture where like certain things are looked down on. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. And I think it helps to uplift stuff like this, where Ozai is what the ultimate thing is. If you achieve all of your things, you get all of the wealth, all the success, your best hope is to become Fire Lord Ozai. But I think you don't become Uncle Iroh until you look at it and go, actually, maybe all this stuff is meaningless. What actually matters is family and loving people, having peace, having unity. And I don't think you get there until you kind of give up on the constant grind, Yeah. So I think that's what makes this relevant too. Yeah. Okay. With that, would you guys rather be Zuko or Iroh? Would you rather be Zuko and learn from Uncle Iroh, or would you rather get all of the traits of Uncle Iroh yourself and have to train a Zuko?
Zuko.
That's fair.
I just really don't want to skip from 26 to 65.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Yeah, I get that.
I already had my angsty childhood and dealt through a lot of anger and therapy, so I don't want to go back. I choose Uncle Iroh.
Perfect. Alex, would you rather be Iroh or Zuko? Or Fire Lord Ozai if you want. You could be him.
I feel like, I don't know. I think maybe Zuko, because I don't know, trying to mentor other people is stressful because like you can't force them to get it right. And then watching them like listen to the advice you give and then do the opposite anyway, I can't do that anymore. So
I feel it.
Let me be Zuko.
I feel you. I feel it. Oh, man. My gut wants to go with Liz and be like, I'd rather be Uncle Iroh, but I'm going to be a little bit depressing. I think the person that most reminds me of Uncle Iroh in my life was my grandfather, who died the earliest of any of my grandparents. And I don't think I really appreciated him for who he was. So part of me, I think I'm going to end up going with Zuko because I'm like, man, I just kind of want to have someone like that in my life around again and, just go on a ship and hang out with them all the time. That sounds great, actually. I think I'd just be a terrible Zuko because I'd be like, yeah, let's just drink tea and play chess. I'm down. Let's do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Paisho. I don't think you could learn Paisho. It's so hard to teach Josh new things.
That's true. Uncle Iroh might be able to teach me. Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Oh, man. All right. So a couple quick last questions before you start wrapping this up. How do you guys think we might be able to identify someone in our own lives who could be like Uncle Iroh or Fire Lord Ozai so that we know, who to avoid, who we want to keep around as mentors in our life? How do we distinguish the Ozais and the Irohs in our own life and, actually get the right people around us? Mm-hmm. It's a discipleship question.
I think there's one easy way for both of them to identify. Mm-hmm. And Ozai, you want to avoid the people who, when it's time to correct someone, they do it very publicly. They do it as publicly as they can. They make sure everyone sees it. Like if you work in a store and you mess something up, if your boss sends that message like, hey, you did this wrong to everyone,
mm-hmm. They're an Ozai.
Not great. They're an Ozai. They're an Ozai. If it's a lot harder to identify an Iroh. It's a lot harder because most people aren't just waxing and waning poetically about the mistakes of their past, Typically, though, I find it best to find someone who never raises their voice in anger, someone who is calm, but not like eerily calm, not like freaky calm,
Not serial killer.
There's a line.
Yeah.
Not serial killer calm, but steady.
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel.
I think I agree. See, the thing is, I feel like we're switching roles here. You gave like a really good serious answer, and all I can think of is like silly, I don't know if these count answers, but like I think they might be right.
My grandpa's shoulders do feel like Iroh's. Of that, I'm certain.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
he's Iroh.
Yeah, but for some reason, the things coming to my mind are like, wake up earlier, go to more Cracker Barrels. If your church has like a elder's breakfast, be there. You'll find an Iroh.
That's true.
Like that's my rate. Or just start asking old people how they feel about tea. I think it could work.
Yeah, go start following the Chinese tea ceremony guy on TikTok.
True. But I
love that guy.
Actually, I'm gonna do like advice that people will hate. I legitimately think, it's harder to do this with older people because they aren't on social media as much. But I do legitimately think somewhat social media does say more about them than we like to think it does. If they're constantly posting about how bad one thing is or another thing, or like hate, even if they're hating Donald Trump all the time, I hate Donald Trump. But if that's all their posts are, that's not an Uncle Iroh. If Uncle Iroh is posting about tea and calmness and steadiness, yeah, I'm gonna advise using social media, which is something we're supposed to advise people not to do, I think, but it's fine. Alex, what about you? How do you find the Irohs and Ozais?
To me, you find an Ozai by, I guess, somebody who's a lost cause, like super selfish, doesn't care about how his actions or their actions affect other people. And like, even if like they were to get help or something and they're like, oh, this is who I am. It is what it is. Like, I feel like that's an Ozai. Like they're just so rigid and not being better. And then Iroh, I think you can find an Iroh in like an older person, or it doesn't even have to be an older person, but somebody at least older than you, I think, who is just content with where they're at in life, like content and happy. And like you ask them for advice and they'll give it to you, or they're just really transparent about things they've been through. I think of my grandpa. I think about it, he was definitely very much like an Ozai. Like homeboy been through a lot in his past, but like as he got older, he was like more open about mistakes he's made and things he's done. And he would like tell me, my siblings and our cousins, like, hey, don't be like me. Don't be like the family. Like, be better and stuff like that. So,
yeah, like that. I do think in general, Irohs are usually older people, but not always. They smile more. I think that's a thing too. They're going to be smiling more than other people. But yeah, I like what you said about the Ozai stuff too. I don't think I did anything with Ozai in my thing. I think part of how you recognize Ozais are how much they talk about themselves, or when they talk about you, like how they're wording it. If it sounds like honor shame thing, like I live in a church world, so a lot of my examples are going to be like churchy, I guess. But like if they're like, well, if you do that, how's that going to make the church look? If they're saying stuff like that, they're more concerned with the honor of the church, their honor, or somebody else. So like, well, this is this is our church, or this is, all the me, our, how does it look? How does this appear to other people? And I'm not saying appearances don't matter, but I think if that's the main kind of stuff they're talking about, probably an Ozai. And I really want to highlight, I'll probably share the reel of what TJ said with that too, of like, are they publicly correcting you? Or are they pulling you aside and trying to be helpful? Are they making an example out of it and doing that shame culture thing? Or so I think like what TJ said there was super important. Liz, how about you? Did I already ask you how we find Irohs and Ozais?
No, but I'm kind of very similar with everyone. Like as far as Ozais, looking for self-centeredness, and usually the loudest person in the room is one of the dumbest people in the room, in my experience. So if someone's like super loud, self-centered, they think they have all the answers, definitely do not want them leading me. I always say, and since I'm in the church world too, I always, with discernment, usually I'm like, they're very impressive, but their character's not going to keep them there in that leadership position. And you give it time, and usually you see that it's right, because you can be very impressive, like a Fire Lord, but your character, there's going to be a White Lotus coming, because it's not going to keep you in that position, right? So you just have to like really be observant and listen more than you speak, because even finding an Uncle Iroh, that's going to take time, because are they just an old man who likes to drink tea, or is that someone like you can invest? So if you're looking for an Uncle Iroh, I think a really practical thing to do is look at your friends. And then look at your friends' parents. How did they get raised? How are they speaking about, like all of you guys did? You guys talked about a grandparent or an uncle, or like someone that was a mentor in your life. So they're out there, and they're usually not diamonds, diamonds in the roughy, because as you guys already talked about them, they're already shining. They're not in the rough. So like I kind of was like, well, I'm looking at like, now, thinking about how I want to raise my kids. I'm literally looking at kids in the church right now, and like some of our staff leaders, and I'm like, I want you to teach me how to be a parent, because I can see the fruit of their leadership in their children. So I can see which kids listen. I can see which kids are respectful. So it's just a lot of observing on your end and not going with what seems impressive.
Yeah. No, man, you guys are so wise. You guys might be Irohs.
Well, that's why I wanted to be an Iroh.
No, I like all that. Yeah. I feel like Will's not going to like this, but I think Will Rowe is very close to an Iroh. Personality is definitely different. Will's a lot more energetic, and I think that's fair to say. But as far as like calming presence in my life, Will Rose is that. Like when I am going through chaos or like I'm stressed out, I call Will. For those who don't know, Will Rose is my pastor and also one of the other hosts of Systematic Ecology. So the way that I found Will Rose, and it's an Uncle Iroh, start a podcast. That's how you do it, guys.
Just more podcasts.
Invite every pastor you can on a podcast until you find one that you're like, this is the guy. No, but
that did
more
work.
serious notes. Last series question. We talked about how to find Irohs and Ozais. How do I not be an Ozai and be an Iroh? Like there are people in my life who are going to look up to me inevitably because I'm a human who lives amongst other humans. And I do have temptation sometimes. Like Right now, I am actively trying to get a promotion. I don't think I'm doing it because I want the status. I think I'm doing it because I want money. But sometimes you need money. But you know what I mean? Like, I can be that cutthroat, I need to get ahead and just ignore everybody else, and it's all about the status. Like, I am in danger of becoming a Fire Lord in, that sense. But, I'd much rather be an Iroh, and just keeping it to my own context. I wish that, if I'm going to be a general manager, even if I'm not discipling people, I don't want to be a mentor. Realistically, if I'm a general manager or a manager in general, funny, someone is looking up to me. TJ is a service leader at his store. Someone is looking up to TJ. Mm-hmm. How do we be an Iroh instead? Because he's short. Is what. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah. Liz, how do TJ and I be an Iroh instead of an Ozai?
Being in that position myself, being one of the pastors at our church, I make it known, even though I have something to say, I always is this wise to say it? Is this edifying to say right now? There's a reason why I'm saying do not be the loudest person in the room, because I like to think, my husband and I, we do the same thing. Taylor, we like to think when we do speak, it holds more weight because we don't speak often. So when I have something to say and I'm really trying to give you advice, there's not as much noise blocking it because I'm not just talking hot air. So when I'm calling someone hey, you're kind of being dumb right now, we really need to realign, because I don't say that often, or I don't joke around with them often. It's girl, you suck. You know what I mean? It holds more weight because I don't joke like that. So just kind of choosing your words wisely and always wanting to call people up and not out. Make sure you know what you're talking about. Don't be dumb. Don't talk about something you don't know, so you don't know if you don't know it.
Mm-hmm. Well, before I like that, but before letting Alex have something to say, I'm going to make it more complicated. She's going to love me complicating this. We're also all podcasters here. TJ and I have more than one podcast. So there's this extra tension of obviously, I want our podcast to be known because more listeners are cool. We don't just do this just cause, they're a part of it. I think this stuff's important, especially not that this show isn't important, but whole church to me is just something I care a little bit more about. It's about church unity, and that's something that's really dear to my heart. And it's yeah, of course I want it to be the biggest thing. And it's really easy sometimes to justify, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend money. I'm going to advertise. I'm going to be the best unity podcast, whatever, because I want people to hear my word. And what we're saying is important. So it's easy to justify constantly wanting to be the best and have the loudest voice. And at what point am I doing it because I want people to hear a message that's important? And what point am I just being an Ozai and it's all about my podcast being number one, and that's where I'm going to do a pre-recommendation. Phil Vischer writes a book, Me, Myself, and Bob. And he's the author of VeggieTales, and he talks about how he kind of fell in this trap that he thought, well, since I'm doing something for God, for the Bible, of course, whatever means to make it the most well-known ever is completely fine. And how he actually suffered greatly because he had that mindset and realized after his Uncle Iroh moment, actually, maybe it's not about being the most loudest Christian out there, and maybe other things are more important, and God's going to do with his word what he wants to do anyway. How do we be an Iroh instead of an Ozai in the podcast world?
As I just said, don't always want to talk, and I have something to add on to yours. I always want to caution, do not confuse humbleness or wanting to not be so overpowering with not having drive. You know what I mean? Because of course, if you're going to do something, you want to do it well, right? So I always go back to what's the heart, because same thing with growing our church. Yes, we have a large church. Yes, we want to grow. Of course, we want people to pay tithes because we would like to pay the staff. We would like to contribute to missions. We would like to do the community, right? That's always a goal, and those aren't bad goals. But is the heart to try and become a mega church so we can look impressive on social media, or is the heart for people to know Jesus and find purpose and find a safety in him and love, So I always go back to the heart. Even with your promotion, have drive, right? Have, get that raise, get that, money, because that's going to help your family. That's going to help your you reach and be a blessing to others. So striving is not bad. And I feel like in our world today, a lot of people want Christians to be content with subparness. I work a very high stress job and I make a lot of money. And people are like, you should be poor and be a Christian. I'm like, no, I like making a lot of money. And I like being crazy generous with my money too. So as you grow whole church and even this podcast and strive to get a raise, always just do a heart check. Why are you doing it? Is it to glorify yourself or to glorify God?
Yeah. No, I like all that.
Like having a balance with humility and like your heart posture and the drive and the reason why you're doing what you do. That's basically it. Like she already said majority of what I was going to say, but and then also like when you were talking about your question, like, I don't know, I kind of thought of Paul the Apostle for a little bit. And like Iroh is kind of similar. Like Paul, he was doing some crazy things, like persecuted Christians, but he thought that he was doing it to further the church until Jesus came and was like, hey, check yourself. Like, that's not it. And until you get it, I'm going to take your eyesight. And so like Paul had to go through a huge, like he had to be humble, but he still ended up being like one of the greatest apostles out there. So
yeah,
that was my point.
That reminded me earlier. Yeah. You reminded me earlier, I wanted to do a Paul quote and forgot, but because somewhere in one of the epistles, Paul writes of like, I forgive because I was forgiven. Like I've been forgiven so much that I'm so forgiving. And I think that is part of why Iroh was so quick to forgive Zuko and so compassionate, is because he knows how wrong he was. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anyway,
and it also is why Zuko becomes who he becomes.
Gosh, Zuko's awesome.
Zuko is
Ephesians 4:32. Just by the way.
True. Thank you.
Period.
Yeah. Yeah. So one last time, gonna set it up again. Set it up for TJ to bring us all home. TJ, we talked a lot about like podcasting managers. Can we be an Iroh or how do we keep from being an Ozai? All that kind of stuff. Balancing humility and drive. Earlier, we were talking about Iroh, and someone said he's very content with what he has. What's the difference of being content and being complacent? Because like when I think of like the opposite of drive, I think complacent. But when I think of like the opposite of this like honor, super like Ozai kind of, it's all about me, I think of this contentness. Walk me through this. Why is that what I think?
Contentedness is easy to demonize because it is associated with comfort, immovability. To some people, being content means you don't want it bad enough. Mm-hmm. Being content does not necessarily mean you're not going to get more. You're not going to try for more. Being content means you are happy right now. What you have now is enough. It's not saying anything about your future. It's just saying for what I have, for who I am right now, this is enough.
Can I be content and still have a drive for more? Like, are those things like...
Not exactly the same time. It's like a tiny little switch. You know?
Just flip it on. Like, at work, I need drive. All right, work's over. I'm content now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think so. To me, being content is very important.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
It's very important. Because it allows... Well, just because I am, really.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of lives ruined by overambition.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which, hard to do. It's a lot harder to ruin your life with overambition than, complacency. But it can happen.
Yeah. Good words. Well, I'm not following up any of that. You guys are just wiser than me, I think. But does anybody else have anything they want to add about the Irohs, Ozais, Avatar: The Last Airbender, why we need to watch Legend of Korra, anything?
Yeah, I think you just should finish it. All of you should probably just finish it. Mm-hmm. It's fine. It's not as good as The Last Airbender, but it's cool.
Yeah, a few things are.
You get to see Zuko. You get to see Toph.
I've seen Toph. I didn't know Zuko was in it.
Yeah. Yeah, he is, and he's awesome. And he looks like Avatar Roku.
Well, I think you sold me.
Yeah, he's like 116.
Yeah, I think you sold me.
He's super old. But it is extremely important, in my opinion, to be quick to admit when you don't know the answer to something. To answer your question that I never actually got asked is you should always be willing to admit that you don't know.
Is that the question of how to be an Iroh and not a Ozai?
Yeah.
I agree. Ozai was never going to change his mind or his ways. And Iroh was much too high a cost. Hopefully all of us can learn to see when we're wrong before, family members get murdered in war.
Before personally leading your son to death in a battle.
Yeah. Hopefully we can all be a little less stubborn than that, which is crazy because Iroh's the man. But I still hope that I would learn quicker than that. Maybe I will because I know of Iroh. Maybe that'll help me be quicker to change my mind. Yeah. All right. Well, then with that, I think it's time to go ahead and start wrapping this one up. And of course, we always like to start with announcing what the bonus question is going to be. We will be asking what kind of teacher or mentor might Zuko grow up to be, and it sounds like some of us might know, so that'll be fun. But we're going to talk about it anyway because I couldn't think of another bonus question. I thought it'd be fun. Without further ado, though, recommendations, TJ. Other than Legend of Korra, what else do you think we should check out?
Night at the Museum, Return of Akhman-Ra, 2022 Disney Plus exclusive animated Night at the Museum film. It's really good. It keeps the spirit of the series, I think, very well. I'm not going to say it is as good as the other three, but I don't think there's a bad Night at the Museum movie anymore.
Yeah.
Shout out Amy Adams as Amelia Earhart. Generational performance.
All right. I like it. Alex, what about you? What's any recommendations for everybody?
Books. Just read a book. I've been getting back to reading.
Read The Way of Yang Chen.
All reading counts.
Read the Yang Chen book.
I haven't read that one.
You get to learn about more avatars.
Yeah, I need to read those because I see them in the bookstore. And I don't know. The thought of reading all the extra stuff, I just feel like that's a hole that I don't think I'm prepared to jump in just quite yet, I think.
Oh, they're good. She's so cool.
Yeah. Well, man, my recommendation, really specific and random, I guess, but it's fine. Jack and Daxter, The Last Frontier. I think everybody from my generation understands Jack and Daxter, Jack 2, Jack 3 were legendary games. I think people sleep on Jack and Daxter, the Lost Frontier, because it came out on PSP. I replayed all the Jack and Daxter games at the end of last year, and God, it's just so good. It's so underrated. More people need to check it out. Liz, any recommendations for those listening?
I just watched Nina, the Starry Bride. Really cute 12-episode rom-com anime.
All right. That, the rom-com thing. Actually, guilty pleasure. I love rom-com, so I might actually check that one out.
As you should. Well, the stinky thing is because it's a 12-episode left on the cliffhanger, but the manga is still ongoing and updating, so I'm about to switch to the manga.
Nice.
I actually have another recommendation specifically for Liz. I think you should read Sumuki Ugami's Ordinary Life, or Not So Ordinary.
I feel like that sounds familiar.
Cute.
So text that to me. I might have already seen it or read it.
Also,
it's ongoing.
Just so that TJ will be proud of me, I'm on my third manga.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I read all the Kingdom Hearts, and then I've been reading One Piece where I'm at, and I had a trip recently, so I needed to download some books, and I downloaded the entirety of Vinland Saga. I love that manga. That's awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah. So, sorry. With that, I also recommend that. Vinland Saga manga is fantastic.
Phenomenal. Top 10 all time.
So good. That though, we're going to go ahead and finish wrapping this up. We already started. We're just slow. Remember, rate and review this show wherever you get your podcast. It does really help us. It makes people notice that we exist, which is good. It helps us with our drive to be the #1 geek podcast. Also want to thank one of our financial supporters, Gunnar Burgum, perhaps is how you pronounce his name. Gunnar, you're awesome. I appreciate you, even if I can't say your name. And I hope anyone listening, if they want their own shout out that they remember, they can become an official member of Systematic Geekology on our website. It's in the description. Also, the same website, you can get one of the faces behind us t-shirts for this year's annual theme. And It's awesome. And get ready for our next episode. It's going to be on the main feed, the next one in this series, talking about the faces behind Optimus Prime and Megatron. And TJ will be back for that with Will Rose. So be looking for that, guys. And that episode will have a link to the playlist of the series, so there will be more than one episode at that point. And of course, remember, we're all a chosen people, especially Uncle Iroh, a geekdom of priest.
Hey friends, it's your pal Will Rose here, and let me break the fourth wall a moment and look directly at you through the camera or speak directly to you in your earbuds. Yep, I'm talking to you, Susie. You too, Chad. You can now support Systematic Geekology on Fourth Wall. That's a website. You'll find all of our episodes, incredible merch like shirts and hoodies and mugs. Chad, I would love to see you in one of those shirts out in the wild. You get bonus episodes. We answer bonus questions. We have special shout outs. We have certain episodes that you pick. So you help us create and curate the content that we put out for the world to hear. You even get free merch. And you can support the show at different levels. You could join at the free level. Yep, we love free members, free support. Join it. Or you could become a sidekick for as little as $5 a month. You could join the elves and dwarves for $10 a month. You could become a wizard for $15 a month, or you could go to divinity school and become a cleric for $20 a month. And that's way cheaper than going to seminary, believe me. Or at $25 a month, you could become a superhero. And let me just say, we love all of our listeners, whether you support us at the free level or the superhero level. We love you. We love geeking out with you. Support, share the show. Love you.
Hi, friends. It's Laura here, and I just wanted to say thank you for listening to our show. Systematic Geekology is a part of a larger podcast network called the Inaugural Podcast Network. Dummy for Theology is Joshua Noel's show discussing different theological topics from various perspectives and attempting to give people more questions than answers. My Seminary Life is Brandon Knight's show. It started as him going through what he was learning in seminary, and after he graduated, he's been doing independent studies and has a lot of fun series like on hermeneutics, Bonhoeffer Summer, and worship. And then Friday Night Frights is a monthly show with Christian Ashley and Joe Day. They have a vote on the Systematic Geekology Facebook group to choose a topic each month and discuss everything from cryptos to ghosts to aliens to serial killers and more. So we hope you'll give it a listen, and thanks for being part of what we're putting out there.